be late for work.
This is so ridiculous.
Live from New York City, it's the Artie Lang Show. Tonight's guests, author Richard Hoynes, former NFL defensive tackle Isera Tualo, and comedian Fred Stoller.
My first guest tonight has a great book out, man. Just leafing through this thing, it's unbelievable. It's called Great Jersey Musicians, Photographic Artworks, Premier Edition, Richard Hoynes. And here's the book. What do I do? Can I look at this camera? Is that it? There it is right there. And it's really cool, man. It's one of those books, a lot of stuff I read some of what's written in here, and that's great. And pictures are amazing. Who is that on the back?
That is Pat Guadagno.
Now, what? Give me his history, because this is a great back shot of a book. It's just the back of a big guy.
So I shot that picture
playing
going
guitar
through the window of the Mad Hatter in Seabright.
Ah, know it well.
He was playing there one night.
Yeah.
He does a lot of Bob Dylan music.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he plays a whole lot of... He's got a great voice. He actually sounds better than Bob Dylan. I hope Bob's not watching.
If he's watching, that would be a very big surprise.
Yeah.
The Jersey Shore, it's its own thing. Mm-hmm. And you still get guys who could just take the stage and have that sound, like a John Eddie we were just talking about, Southside Johnny.
Yep.
There's great cover bands.
Yep,
there's
all in the book,
a whole industry of Springsteen cover bands named after every one of his songs. There's Badlands, there's Jungle Land, there's whatever.
Yeah.
And isn't that the coolest thing about Jersey? Right?
Yeah.
What got you involved in doing something like this? Was it just are you a musician yourself? Or?
I'm a musician. I write, I sing, I play. I don't really play out a lot because most of the musicians in this book are better than me.
Well, they're better than everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of them, yeah.
So, but I actually met Bruce at Key Largo when I was going down the shore.
Oh,
when I was
really?
like 19
Okay.
years old.
Yeah.
He was hanging out there with some girl.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine the broads he must have gotten? And he was an enormous multimillionaire Jersey god.
Hanging in the bar.
Do you imagine the broads? Like, that's the first place my mind went. Could you imagine how he could have tripped into a woman?
Oh, yeah.
Just had sex with the hottest chick. Yeah. Like, just trolling for broads at that time.
Yeah, you don't want to actually bring a girl on a date to see Bruce in a place where she could actually meet him. You'll lose the girl at the bar.
We're talking about the Osprey at the bar.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah.
So, did you love Springsteen or a certain type of, like, what made you do something?
I love music.
Take something like this on.
Yeah, so I've been, I started a website called GreatJerseyMusic.com about 5-6 years ago to help promote artists in Jersey. I got a lot of musician friends who wanted websites, and I was an IT guy in my corporate career, so they were like always asking me to do websites, but none of them have any money.
Right, of course. Like a lot of websites. Being in show business, over the last 15 years, website. Let's get involved in a website, interview, invest in a website. It's a good way to go broke.
Exactly. So I created one site where everybody can go to see who's playing, and there's calendars, videos, pictures, and links to their websites, because in order to find out who was playing somewhere, you'd actually have to go to the restaurant or the bar or the whatever website to do that.
Right.
So I've been photographing artists for years for the website.
And you were just going and taking pictures.
Taking pictures.
Right.
And about 8 months ago, I said, wouldn't it be neat to put together a book of some of these artists, right? And I was trying to get to be a better photographer too, so I was shooting a lot, and I would shoot like 1,000 or 1,200 shots a night. Because, the cameras today shoot like...
Really?
Well, yeah, they shoot like 6 frames a second, so you hold your finger down and you got, 50 shots right away. So then I go through and I find the best frame and, anyway, I put together a book. And about 2010, I started a foundation to raise money for other nonprofits.
Okay.
Because I was doing a lot of volunteer work with Somerset Hills Learning Institute in Bedminster, New Jersey, helping them out with some stuff. And I have a farm up there in Bedminster.
Beautiful.
And I went,
beautiful area.
Yeah, it's a horse hay farm.
Yep.
And I went to the school, the guy who runs the school, Kevin Brothers, who's a really great guy, and said, why don't we do a fundraiser on the farm? I just finished renovating this house. I built an equestrian center on it, all solar powered. And I said, I got this property. I'm either going to sell it or we're going to, find something to do with it that's philanthropic.
Right.
So we went to the town to propose doing Bedstock, which was a music festival fundraiser for autism.
Right.
We ended up doing it for 5 schools, 4 in Jersey, 1 in New York. They all use the same method of treating children with autism who developed by the Princeton Child Development
It's
Institute.
become a big cause now. Now, I've done a
Yeah.
couple of charity events for autistic kids.
Yep.
One of my good friends, one of the best comedy writers of all time, in my opinion, this guy, Robert Smigel. He has a son who's autistic.
Yeah.
And I've done a couple of charity gigs for him, and I've seen him at places and other. It's one of the most unique diseases, or whatever you want to call it, affliction that someone could have. It's just very... people should really be dedicated to finding a cure for that, because the parents of autistic kids, they always look so tired because it's just a massive
exhausting.
thing. We've got to take a quick break, but I want to talk more about this. And I think it's so ironic that you started out doing this newfangled thing, a website, and what happened was you had enough material for an old-fashioned thing, a book,
Exactly,
which is
right.
great. Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break and come back with more of Richard Elliott Hoynes in the book. Come on back. A real fucking alternative
Yeah.
to an opiate high
Yeah. Yeah.
that isn't harmful to you. That's not a drug.
Yeah.
There's nothing I wouldn't do to get that. Like nothing. Like,
You know what it is?
that's the promised land to me.
Yeah. When I went through divorce, it was like, I needed to heal, so I kept exploring these different things, and whatever anybody told me to try, I would try. And I stay away, and I deliberately didn't drink, didn't do any kind of anything, because
So
I
there's a
knew
lot
that
of
was
willpower, man.
Well, but
Because you go to bar, eh?
yeah, right, in the bars, yeah, exactly. But it's, I find this kind of meditation, crystal therapy. There's a woman down in Neptune who does crystal therapy.
Yeah.
When she's done with you, you're zen for like a week.
Meaning she takes different crystals and...
I thought it was nuts, okay, when I went. I thought, you're out of your mind. Somebody's gonna put some rocks on your body and
She
you feel
puts the
better.
rocks on you?
You actually lay on a table and they start laying, you lay on this table and she starts laying these different kinds of stones on your body.
It sounds like what Andy Kaufman went through.
I
You ever
think it
saw
was.
the movie
Yeah.
Man on the Moon?
Yeah.
Jim Carrey depicts that scene where he was doing the chakra thing with the stones.
Yeah.
But then he figures out she's bullshit. That's the big reveal. Is that,
I thought it was
she
bullshit when I went.
She was a con artist. But I mean, there's good and bad in everything, probably.
Yeah. I think there are some,
Well, yeah, but some might work.
Yeah.
Do more than watch on Facebook at facebook.com/Artie Lang Show.
Hey, welcome back to the Artie Lang Show. Talking to Richard Hoynes, author and picture taker of the book Great Jersey Musicians. Is there one picture in this book that when you took it, you said, oh, my God, that's the one? It clicked in your head, I got to make a book out of this. Like one or two that you thought, my God, these are so great, I got to do this?
Well, I don't think it was
And who
so
are they
much-
of, if there is one? Yeah.
No, there are a lot of great artists in the book, and I love them all. I mean, they're all eclectic and different as artists are. It wasn't the pictures that made me think about doing the book. It was more. I started this foundation, and I've been funding it out of my pocket for the last probably since 2010.
Right.
Other than the first year we ran Bedstock. And I thought it'd be interesting to kind of marry, because the musicians always play these events. They get asked to play an event every single week for free somewhere.
Right.
And they go for free, and half of them can't even pay their own rent. Some of these guys live in back houses. Some of the, and I've loaned a few of them money.
Yeah,
No, please don't come and ask me for money now. But
musicians and comedians. That happens a lot. Believe
it
me.
happens.
I've
And,
been there.
and somebody's about to lose their house, and they come to you, and you're like, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
You got to
yeah,
help them out. So I thought, do the book, take some of the profits, give it to the foundation, and then I wholesale to the musicians, so at their gigs, they can actually make money on the book at the gig.
It's nice of you, man.
Yeah, so they go and they do book signings. We did a book release at McLuhan's Supper Club in Asbury
See,
Park.
that's complicated thoughtfulness. Me, I like simple stuff. Like here's 10 grand. Bye. You're like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do a back thing, and a back thing with him.
You know why?
Like I was like, here's 10 G's, and just go get a house or something.
The benefit, though, is that the book is actually something they can use to promote themselves.
No, I know.
From a user point of view, you can look at the book and you can go, hey, I know these artists, but I don't know these other ones, but they're in the book called Great
And it's a
Jersey
great-
Musicians. Let me go find
It's a
them.
great kind of charity thing because it makes them have to do something too. It's not just sitting on their ass and collecting money. The other thing I want to touch on real quick, you said something fascinating.
Yeah.
You got real into these CDs or CDs, soulful awakening, sounds of the chakra crystal bowls.
yeah.
Okay. You said this helped you during a time in your life where you caught your wife cheating on you. You're divorced. But
Right.
Okay, so instead of boozing it up,
Yeah.
which I would have done,
Yeah.
or tying yourself off and shooting up heroin,
Yeah.
you listen to these and you want to actually talk about it here during your time because you believe in it that much.
Well, what happened is I read your book this morning. I read the first 4 chapters.
Right.
And I saw all the stuff you went through. I'm sorry about the loss of your dad.
Right, yeah. See, it's hard times. I mean, I was much weaker and did not do meditation.
And I've been through similar things. My dad died of cancer. My mom
Right.
was murdered. I mean, I've seen a lot of...
Your mother was murdered?
Yes.
Wow.
So, I kind of went, after the divorce, I kind of, I was beaten, right? So I said, what am I going to do? So I started exploring all these different healing modalities.
Yeah.
Jinshin Jitsu, crystal healing, crystal bowl meditation that someone turned me on to. So I went to this place, Soulful Awakenings, in Lake Como, New Jersey.
Right.
And I started doing these crystal ball meditation. And you basically you go and you lay on a mat, and this woman, Donna Sika, who's a really great lady, she sets an intention: love, peace, forgiveness, abundance, whatever, based on the collective consciousness of the room. She kind of channels, and she just does the thing, and she says, the intention tonight is love. She talks about it, and then you lay on this mat, and you lay there for an hour, and the music bathes you. And there are 7 bowls, 7 chakras. Each bowl resonates a different note. So there's C, D, E, F, G, and A. And the chakras of your body start at the root. C, D, E, F is the heart chakra, G is the throat, A is the third eye, B is your crown.
So you really just go to a nice place, and it helps.
And you lay there.
And again, like I was telling you this during the commercial, if someone, and people have told me in rehab and the loony bin,
Right.
Both actual mental institutions and the club, the loony bin in the Staten Island, where I almost went nuts several times. If someone could give me a real alternative to dealing with stress than like an opiate high, and it's something as sweet as this, and like not that would be it. I would praise them from here till eternity. And it hasn't happened with me yet. I've met people in rehab who they found it, kind of like you. They found the peace through stuff like this, and it's just so fascinating.
Is it that you get depressed? You go into depression,
It's
and then
depression.
you use
Look,
it to
it's
fight
everything that causes you to relapse. And it goes, it's depression, it's anger, it's fear, it's stress, it's anxiety, it's all those things boiled up into one. And it could be over something personal. You're dealing with a broad that broke your heart, or stress over work, money, dealing with tragedy in your life. How do I deal with the wah thing? Poor me, my father fell off a roof. Okay, whatever. We'll give you 6 months to be depressed, but get over it. You know what I mean? This is fascinating to me. So Soulful Awakening, Sounds of the Chakra, Crystal Bowls. John, as a musician, you have anything you'd like to ask him? He's a musician.
Yeah, but I dabble in musicianship.
So do I.
So, yeah, right.
Thanks, man.
I'm just. It sounds to me like you made a good living as a senior executive with Pfizer and Tyco and Johnson & Johnson, and now you're just looking for ways to give back.
Absolutely.
And so you've really looked for a lot of ways along your path. So you've found some very unique methods to give back, but also to make yourself feel the way you want to feel.
I'm glad you just brought that up, because there's some tie-in to like sort of being, I don't want to say guilty or guilt-ridden over it, but being involved with Pfizer, who just does the direct opposite of what you're talking about. This is non-holistic stuff. Pfizer's like, you're depressed, take this pill, and that's how they became a trillionaire company, and you worked in that. You think there's a tie-in to that, where you're like trying to, say I want to be involved with the direct opposite of that now and meditate?
Well, I worked for IBM. I chose to go into consumer products within Pfizer or within Warner Lambert. Then Pfizer bought Warner Lambert, so I was working for Pfizer.
Right.
Because the slogan on Warner Lambert was, "We make the world feel better." And they did. They Listerine, Lubriderm, Actifed, Sudafed, Neosporin, APT. They make good products, right? Yeah, drugs too.
Well, you buy enough Sudafed and you got a meth lab. So.
Yeah. Well, we didn't make any of that.
No,
but,
I get you.
But you made a point earlier about you just sometimes give somebody $10,000. What I try to do is find a balance. So, like when I do a fundraiser with musicians involved, I always pay them. Like I did Bedstock. I don't pay them their normal rate because the charity can't afford that.
Yeah, it gets expensive.
But in Bedstock, I paid every artist $100. So if you had a 5-piece band, you got $500. If you had a 2-piece band, you got $200.
Right.
But there's balance there. The book is about balance, right? You've got musicians benefiting from the notoriety and from the ability to make money on it. You got the charity that benefits from it, and then we do events where they're actually making money at the event for the causes. So, to me, the model has to be more balanced, because too many musicians are asked to play, and don't get
And
anything for it.
there's no real soulful connection to it. I mean, I'll
Right.
play whatever. It's funny. One guy who's in your book, a Jersey guy, John Eddie.
Yep.
There's
Good guy.
a lot of great Jersey musicians who really do give back, and there's
Yep.
a lot of charity that goes on. I've done a couple of charity gigs with John Eddie. Got to know him a little bit. A real nice
Yeah.
guy. We actually did one for the Prader-Willi disease. I don't know what that is.
I don't even know what
But,
that is, yeah.
It's a disease where these people, these kids, teenagers, don't have a gene in their head that lets them know when they're done eating. So they just overeat till they just like die almost.
Yeah.
And it's a real bad. We did one. And, the awful thing was we did a charity. It was an enormous buffet at the charity.
Wow,
I didn't
nice.
know how to react to that. But my first 3 jokes were like fat jokes. We're like I bombed, quite frankly. But
Great.
yeah, but you I don't know. It sounds like you really like John hit on something maybe like the corporate world and
Yeah.
stuff, and you're like enough of that. I want to like
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I chose companies to work for that had what I thought good values.
Yeah.
Right? Because to me, it's all about people and about helping. And, I got accused of, kind of running an organization in Pfizer that, everybody enjoyed. It was like a country club. They thought it was a country club because they
Right.
enjoyed it. But we still outperformed every other group in
Well,
the company.
that
so,
big, you don't even know what's right and what's wrong. I mean, you're talking about it's a huge, and you were real successful within something that's
Yeah,
successful, right? So.
Yeah, we did business in 145 countries on the consumer product
Just
side,
talking
so
about
it's pretty big.
Pfizer's
Yeah.
a big company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I bought into best stock thing I ever did was I bought a lot of stock in Viagra 2 weeks before it came out.
Wow.
No, stock in Pfizer.
In Pfizer,
I
before
bought stock in
Viagra came out?
Pfizer about 2 weeks before Viagra hit.
You know how they discovered Viagra, right?
No, how?
You don't know the story about that?
What is it?
So they actually were creating Viagra as a heart medication.
Right.
And I don't know if you're familiar with drug development, but one of the things that you do is you have a phone line that they call in.
Not drug development, but
Just
drug
to use
using.
something. Yeah, right. They have a phone line called the adverse event line. So when there's something wrong with a drug or you get a side effect.
Yeah.
So a nurse in Australia, as I heard the story, actually was noticing a side effect.
Guess what a side effect is, mate?
And the side effect became the purpose for the drug.
Got a raging heart. Is that what happened?
Exactly.
It sounds like it's a side effect for heart medication.
Yeah, Pfizer's a great company. I mean,
Welcome to
it
a
gets
billionaire side
yeah.
effect.
They get a lot of bad press. I mean, because of all the stuff.
Nah,
but they do make drugs to help people's
Yeah,
lives.
no,
so.
and drugs were created to help people. People
Yeah.
like my jerk off fans abuse it. We got to take commercial, but I'm sorry. These breaks are really short. I'm sorry, but we got to pay bills, I guess. Pfizer bought a lot of time on this.
Yeah, good, excellent.
But the name of the book is Great Jersey Musicians, and
You can buy it on Amazon.
Richard Hoynes wrote and took these pictures. It's available on Amazon. And once again, we'll hit this because it seems very important to get Soulful Awakenings.
Yeah.
Sounds of the Chakra, Crystal Bowls. Richard, thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Come back.
very
Let us know
much.
if you're doing any more charity stuff. We're in.
Great, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
We'll be back with more of the Artie Lang Show.
Good to see you guys.